What if when we come to church, we see adults and young people getting along together? What if, instead of me trying to change the other to do the things that I do, we accept our differences and worship together as one? But we can be too harsh judging the others. Neither youth or adults are wrong. Especially the Hispanic church, there are important reasons that guide us to understand why we are so different. Especially because in the Hispanic church, some of the adults, or the majority of adults, came from another country. And that group, we call it the first generation. The first thing we have to understand is that when they left their country, they left their home, they left their family, their friends, their way of life, and came to this country. And when they came to church, a place where they could speak their own language, a place where they could eat their own food, a place where they could find people probably from the same town, church became their refuge. So when we talk about changing church, we're threatening the way of life and the identity as people. Another reason that we have to understand is that for the first generation, when they came to church, it became a place where they could get probably resources that they couldn't get in any other way. The kids could be in clubs, they could take trips, they could learn about life and family and classes that in another way they could probably not afford. So when we talk about changing the way we do church, we're probably taking away things that they know that in any other way they could not afford. And the third reason that we have to understand is that church is a place where most of the adults get respect. Unfortunately, when people came to this country, they left their countries because they needed or wanted a better economical stability. And when they came to this country, they found jobs, but the jobs are repetitive, or as we call it, blue collar. And they don't really make decisions. So when they come to church and they become elders, they become part of the leadership and the decision-making process of the church, it's a place where they earn respect. So when we talk about changing the way we do church, we're asking them to sacrifice the place and the only way that they can earn respect from others. Another thing that affects us all is that whenever the time that we came to church, that image is embedded in our heads. And we want to keep it that way because that is how we met Jesus. And if it happened 20 years ago or 30 years ago or 10 years ago, we want to keep it as close to that because we think that any other way could be an attempt to our Christianity, an attempt to our spiritual life. So when we talk about changing church, we're talking about sacrificing a lot of who we are. Now, Ellen G. White said in 1902 that new methods should be created to reach the people in the time and place where they live. So, what can we do to bridge this gap? What if we try to accept each other with our differences? What if, instead of trying to convince the other that they're wrong or that our way is right, we try to work together to come to a medium point where we can work together and worship together? And what if we teach one another from where we come from so that we can understand each other better? What if, instead of having two churches separated under the same name, because the youth worship in one place and adults in another, we have just one church where adults and youth can worship together because we accept everyone. Jesus started with 12 people. 12 very different people. We have Matthew, who was the tax collector. And by all Jewish standards, Matthew was a traitor. He was somebody who was working for the enemy. He was working for the Romans. He was charging taxes, excessive taxes, I must say. And also, he was seen by the more nationalists of the Jews as somebody who was not worthy to be saved. And we have Simon the Zealot. Simon was a nationalist, a patriot. And can you imagine these two eating together in front of Jesus at the table? Can you imagine the conversations they had with the differences? One a patriot, the other one a traitor. But they came together at the table with Jesus. What if our church got together at the table? And instead of seeing our differences as something that is affecting us, it will be something that gets us together because we try to learn from each other.